This week, state legislators are hearing and voting on bills that have been passed by the other house. One bill aims to give minors the ability to consent to receiving vaccines without parental consent. NTD's Cynthia Kai has what the lawmakers were saying, including when things got heated.
California Assembly members held a hearing on Senator Scott Wiener's Senate Bill 866. The bill would allow minors aged 12 to 17 to receive vaccines without parental consent. But during the Wednesday morning Judiciary Committee hearing, some Assembly members questioned the necessity and health benefits of SB 866, highlighting COVID vaccines as an example.
The incidence of severe disease for kids from COVID is really so small that it doesn't really show up in the data. That's especially true from the strains that are dominant now, and it's especially true given that the CDC now says that 75% of kids have already had COVID. So, can you just tell me concisely where is the evidence that this bill will have a positive impact on public health?
In response, Wiener says minors should be able to make their own medical decisions on all available FDA-approved vaccines, and not just COVID.
You heard the testimony from the doctor that there are kids who do get severely ill from COVID, who do get hospitalized, and do die. But it's not just about the COVID vaccine. And I'll be honest with you, we know that what they call wild polio is still present in the world.
Lawmakers also voiced concern about who knows what's best for their children.
But again, you're creating a general law. So the question we have to ask as policymakers is that, generally speaking, is it the parent or the child who has the best understanding of the child's medical history?
I think that teenagers are absolutely able to make that decision for themselves to get vaccinated. They absolutely can.
Those in favor of the bill said it's important to listen to science.
It's important that we do listen to the professionals that have studied in this. The fact that we have the American Academy of Pediatrics in favor of this.
But others argue it's a parent's right to ensure their children's safety.
This is a parental right, a right to know that their child is safe. Why is it that we have them have to write consents if they want to take a field trip? Why is it that they have to have consent of right, if they want to play a sport? But we can go ahead and give a 12-year-old, 13-year-old the right to make this decision. This is not about vaccinations. This is about the rights of parents.
Davies doesn't believe kids are able to make these decisions at the age of 12.
We don't think really well when we're kids. We just know what we're angry about, and these are our emotions and our feelings. But common sense tends not to come in there, again, at the age of about 25.
According to the bill's analysis, SB 866 simply builds on existing laws that allow minors to consent to certain types of medical procedures. In the end, the committee passed the bill in a 5-4 vote, with Brian Meisheim voting with the 3 Republican members against the bill. SB 866 is now headed to the Assembly floor.
Millions of people are now under new dramatic water restrictions in Southern California. Starting Wednesday, some people in the LA area are now limited to watering their lawns just one day a week.
With no rainfall and record high temperatures exacerbating the already dry conditions, the Southwest megadrought is intensifying. 11% of California is now in exceptional drought, the worst designation according to the U.S. Drought Monitor. Add to that Lake Mead, the nation's largest reservoir, which keeps draining to unprecedented lows. From human bones to old boats.
See if it'll start.
The precipitous fall is revealing secrets long hidden underwater.
There's probably 2 V8 engines under the mud.
For the first time, Lake Mead, which supplies water to millions of people in the West, has fallen to a level that may force the federal government to institute a second tier of unprecedented water restrictions, following the first round of cuts in January. Officials now say it's likely to drop another 12 feet by this fall. By September 2023, the government expects the lake will only be 19% full. For the Southwest, that could mean the most severe level of water cuts. California is one of those states that relies on water from Lake Mead. Its 2 largest reservoirs, Shasta Lake and Lake Oroville, are at critically low levels, at just half of their historical averages.
We are doing what we had signaled was likely to happen.
For months, Governor Gavin Newsom has called on residents and businesses to voluntarily cut their water usage by 15%. But in March, urban water usage rose by 19% from the same month in 2020, spurring Newsom to pressure the state's largest urban water suppliers to beef up their water conservation efforts or potentially face a significant reduction in water use statewide this summer. In response, municipalities and agencies are taking action. The State Water Resources Control Board voted to ban watering any ornamental turf at commercial sites. In Los Angeles, outdoor watering is only allowed 2 days a week. In the Bay Area, at least 2 water districts are enforcing excessive water usage with fines. The East Bay Municipal Utility District is also prepared to release the names of customers who excessively violate the mandatory restrictions. All this, and it's not even summer yet.
Students and parents alike protested a ban placed on certain graduating high school seniors on Monday. The Granada Hills Charter High School in Los Angeles banned students from attending graduation events if they haven't received the COVID jabs. Protesters held signs that read, "Our kids, our choice," and "Don't discriminate, let our kids graduate." The Los Angeles Unified School District decided in May to delay jab mandates along with the rest of the state, but Granada Hills kept that order. Nearly 80 of the 1,100 graduating students will be barred from the ceremony. A recent UC San Diego study ties the rise in youth tobacco use to e-cigarettes. While the FDA banned certain products in 2020, other products from companies like Juul avoided the ban, and they are increasing in popularity. UC San Diego released a study on Monday where they counted more than 1 million American high schoolers becoming daily tobacco users within 2 years of 2017. By 2019, more than 3/4 of them were vaping daily. Study co-author and UCSD professor John Pierce said this is an unprecedentedly high rate of young people starting to smoke. He said this rate of youth tobacco initiation has not been seen since the early 1990s, prior to the implementation of tobacco control measures. Given the recent evidence of the potential health consequences of vaping flavored e-cigarettes, this sharp rise among youth requires urgent public health attention and action. Products by electronic cigarette company Juul Lab drove up e-cigarette sales by 40% in 2017, according to UCSD. The study analyzed data both before and after Juul came onto the market. Senior author Karen Messer, professor of biostatistics at the Herbert Wertheim School of Public Health, named 3 major contributors to the increase of daily e-cigarette usage: social media campaigns, high nicotine concentrations, and fruit flavors. She said this surge in dependent e-cigarette vaping may be reversing decades of decline in rates of tobacco addiction. The FDA's 2020 ban on most flavorings in e-cigarette cartridges failed to include disposable e-cigarettes, e-liquids, or refillable devices. UCSD said 85% of the estimated 1.7 million children vaping last year used flavored products. And finally for today, teachers and students in a small Northern California town had a medical scare this week. 3 third-grade students at Jacoby Creek Elementary in Bayside were hospitalized after eating cannabis gummies. A student brought them to school not knowing they contained cannabis. The candies were shared at recess. When the children started showing symptoms, staff worried it was carbon monoxide exposure. The children have since been released from the hospital.